Africa. Forgotten kingdoms and myths of the continent. When people talk about Africa, many imagine endless savannas, deserts, and tribal villages. But what if, beyond these stereotypes, lie majestic cities with golden palaces, kingdoms whose wealth astonished their neighbors, and myths that explained the structure of the world? A journey into the depths of Africa's history is not just an encounter with the unknown but a return to the forgotten roots of humanity. Chapter 1. The Dawn of Civilizations, the Kingdom of Kush and the Mysteries of Meroë. The history of ancient Africa does not begin with Egypt, as many might think, but farther south, in the lush and vibrant Nile Valley, where the Kingdom of Kush rose to greatness. It was a land of fierce warriors, masterful artisans, and visionary rulers, thriving in a time when the sands of Nubia whispered stories of power and mystery. The Kushites, far from being mere imitators of Egyptian culture, carved their own identity into the stone of pyramids and the pages of history, blending the grandeur of Egypt with their unique traditions. In the heart of this kingdom lay Meroë, a city of striking beauty and bustling energy. The capital of Kush was alive with the clamor of merchants and craftsmen, the hum of rituals, and the clang of iron tools in busy workshops. The skyline was punctuated by dozens of pyramids, their steep sides pointing defiantly toward the heavens. These were not the sprawling monuments of Giza but smaller, sharper structures, elegant tombs built for kings, queens, and nobles who wished to rest in splendor for eternity. The pyramid fields of Meroë were adorned with intricate carvings of gods and goddesses, of triumphant battles, and the everyday lives of a people deeply connected to their land. But Meroë was more than a city of stone and sand. It was a place of innovation, where the air carried the tang of molten iron from furnaces scattered across the outskirts. Here, the Kushites mastered metallurgy, smelting iron to forge tools, weapons, and ornaments that were sought after far beyond their borders. This industry, unparalleled in the region, made the Kingdom of Kush a powerhouse of trade and wealth, its iron flowing along caravan routes to neighboring lands and across deserts. Amid the clamor of markets and the glow of forges, the scribes of Meroë worked tirelessly. They wrote in a script like no other, the Meroitic alphabet, a creation entirely their own. These symbols held the wisdom of the Kushites, records of rituals, laws, and histories. And yet, their meaning remains locked away, an unsolved puzzle tantalizing modern scholars. The script, elegant and enigmatic, seems to whisper the secrets of an ancient world, if only we could understand its voice. At the heart of Kushite power were its women, who stood tall as rulers and warriors. The Kandakis, queens of Kush, wielded authority as equals to their male counterparts. They did not merely sit on thrones, they commanded armies and shaped the destiny of their kingdom. One such queen, Amanirenas, earned eternal renown when she stood against the might of the Roman Empire. As Emperor Augustus sought to tighten Rome's grip on Nubia, Amanirenas struck back, leading her warriors in daring raids and even seizing Roman fortresses. Her courage and strategic brilliance forced the Romans to retreat, securing her place as one of the ancient world's most formidable leaders. The spirit of the Kingdom of Kush was steeped in devotion to the divine. The Kushites honored gods both familiar and uniquely their own. Temples rose in dedication to deities like Amun, Isis, and the lion-headed Apidimak, protector of warriors and symbol of strength. These sacred spaces pulsed with life, their walls echoing with chants and prayers, their altars heavy with offerings. Priests played a pivotal role in society, serving as mediators between mortals and gods, and their influence was felt in both spiritual and political matters. Life in Meroë was deeply attuned to the rhythms of nature. The annual flooding of the Nile was celebrated with grand ceremonies, a reminder of the river's role as a lifeline for the people of Kush. Its waters nourished the fields, ensuring bountiful harvests, and sustained the flourishing trade routes that connected Meroë to the wider world. The Kingdom of Kush was a civilization of contrasts, pyramids rising from arid sands, fiery furnaces fueling prosperity, and powerful queens standing shoulder to shoulder with kings. It was a world where innovation thrived alongside tradition, and the echoes of its legacy continue to intrigue and inspire. The sands of Nubia still hold the stories of a people who defied empires, shaped their own destiny, and left behind mysteries waiting to be unraveled. Chapter 2: Ghana. Gold, Trade, and Eternal Mystery. As the sun climbed high over the savannas of West Africa, it cast its golden light on a land that would come to be known as the Ghana Empire, a kingdom of immense wealth, bustling trade, and enduring mystery. It was the dawn of the first millennium, and Ghana, nestled in the territory of what is now modern-day Mali and Mauritania, rose to prominence as a beacon of prosperity. The empire's power lay in its ability to control the lifeblood of the region, gold. Deep within the earth, miners toiled in rich veins of war, their hands coated in the dust of fortune. Gold flowed like a river from the mines to the trade routes, glinting in the sunlight as it adorned the caravans snaking their way across the vast Sahara. The kingdom stood at the crossroads of the Trans-Saharan trade network, where merchants from the Mediterranean and North Africa converged with those from sub-Saharan Africa, bringing not only goods but ideas and cultures that shaped the region. At the heart of the Ghana Empire was Kumbi Sala, a city of contrasts and wonders. The city was divided into two halves. One housed the royal court and was resplendent with gold-encrusted palaces, while the other bustled with traders, scholars, and artisans. The markets of Kumbi Sala were alive with the sights and sounds of commerce. The clinking of metal weights on scales, the calls of merchants extolling the quality of their wares, and the steady murmur of negotiations in a dozen languages. Caravans arrived laden with salt from the Sahara, ivory and kola nuts from the forests, and enslaved people from distant regions, all exchanging hands for the coveted gold of Ghana. Contemporary Arab chroniclers, such as al-Bakri, marveled at the splendor of Ghana's court. They wrote of rulers who sat on golden thrones, draped in fine robes, with golden adornments gleaming in their hair. Legend has it that even the king's dogs wore collars of gold, a testament to the wealth that seemed boundless. It is little wonder that medieval writers called Ghana the land of gold, a place so rich in treasure that it sparked comparisons to the mythical El Dorado. But gold was not the only treasure Ghana possessed. The empire was also a center of cultural and religious exchange. Islam spread through the region, brought by Arab merchants who traveled with their caravans. The people of Ghana, however, practiced a syncretic blend of traditional beliefs and Islam, maintaining a delicate balance between the old and the new. The king himself acted as a bridge between the divine and the earthly, serving as both a political leader and a spiritual figure revered by his people. Yet, as with all great empires, the brilliance of Ghana eventually began to dim. The Almoravids, a fervent Berber dynasty, swept down from the north in the 11th century, bringing with them both the sword and the Quran. While some accounts suggest that the Almoravid invasion dealt a fatal blow to Ghana, others point to shifting trade routes and internal strife as the true culprits. As traders began to bypass the empire for routes further east, the lifeblood of Ghana's economy ebbed away. Despite its decline, the exact reasons for Ghana's fall remain shrouded in mystery. Was it the might of foreign invaders, the slow erosion of its wealth, or a combination of factors that led to its demise? Historians still debate the answer, but one thing is certain: the legacy of Ghana lives on. Its golden age set the stage for the rise of future West African empires, such as Mali and Songhai, whose rulers would build upon the foundations of trade and culture that Ghana established. Today, the story of Ghana's gold, both literal and metaphorical, continues to captivate. The remnants of its cities and the echoes of its wealth remind us of a time when the land of gold dazzled the world with its splendor and power, leaving behind a legacy as enduring as the sands of the Sahara. Chapter 3: Mali. The rise of Mansa Musa. After the Ghana Empire's golden age faded into history, the land of West Africa was far from quiet. From its ashes rose the Mali Empire, a realm destined to shine even brighter and to leave an indelible mark on history. At the heart of its foundation was Sundiata Keita, a figure whose life has been immortalized in the oral traditions of the griots. Sundiata was not merely a conqueror, he was a unifier. Through his wisdom and strength, he brought together warring tribes and laid the groundwork for one of Africa's greatest empires. Yet it was under the reign of Mansa Musa that Mali ascended to heights that astonished the world. Mansa Musa, whose name means King Moses, was not just a ruler but a phenomenon. His reign began in 1312, and it wasn't long before stories of his wealth and piety spread far beyond the borders of Africa. But it was his pilgrimage to Mecca that forever cemented his legacy. Imagine it. A caravan stretching as far as the eye could see, thousands of people marching in unison under the blistering sun. Camels carried not only food and supplies but also unimaginable quantities of gold. The sands of the Sahara glittered under the weight of his fortune. When Mansa Musa arrived in Cairo, the city trembled under the sheer scale of his generosity. Gold coins rained upon the poor, lavish gifts were presented to rulers, and mosques were adorned with riches. For months, he flooded the local economy with so much gold that its value plummeted, causing inflation that would ripple through the region for years. To this day, historians marvel at the economic shockwave caused by one man's display of wealth. But Mansa Musa was more than a figure of excess. He was a visionary who understood the power of knowledge and culture. Upon his return to Mali, he transformed the empire into a beacon of intellectual and architectural brilliance. Timbuktu, once a modest trading post, became the jewel of West Africa. Under Mansa Musa's patronage, the city flourished as a center of learning and faith. He funded the construction of madrasas and mosques, the most famous of which was the Djingaribir Mosque, whose elegant mud brick architecture still stands today. Scholars from across the Islamic world journeyed to Timbuktu, drawn by its reputation as a hub of knowledge. In its libraries, thousands of manuscripts were meticulously preserved, covering subjects as diverse as medicine, astronomy, mathematics, and law. Timbuktu was more than a city, it was a symbol of African intellectual prowess. The manuscripts that survive today are a testament to a sophisticated society deeply invested in the pursuit of knowledge. These texts reveal a world where science and spirituality intertwined, where scholars debated the movements of stars and the ethics of governance. Mansa Musa's influence extended beyond gold and knowledge. He established trade routes that connected Mali to North Africa, the Middle East, and even Europe. Salt, gold, ivory, and kola nuts flowed through his empire, enriching its coffers and strengthening its influence. His rule brought stability and prosperity to Mali, making it one of the largest and most powerful empires of its time. But Mansa Musa's true genius lay in his ability to inspire. His pilgrimage and the tales of his wealth left an indelible impression on the world. European cartographers, captivated by stories of Mali's riches, began to include it on their maps, marking West Africa as a land of splendor and opportunity. Though centuries have passed, the echoes of Mansa Musa's reign still resonate. Timbuktu's libraries remain as a treasure trove of ancient knowledge, and his story continues to inspire awe. The Mali Empire, under his leadership, was not just a kingdom of gold but a kingdom of ideas. A place where wealth met wisdom and where the sands of time could not bury the brilliance of its legacy. Chapter 4. Benin. The City Labyrinth and Bronze Masterpieces. While Mali's wealth echoed across the savannas of West Africa, in the dense forests of what is now Nigeria, the Kingdom of Benin was quietly crafting a legacy of innovation, artistry, and architectural brilliance. Rising from the verdant jungle, Benin City was more than just a political capital. It was a marvel of engineering and a cultural beacon. As one approached the city, the sheer scale of its defenses was awe-inspiring. Surrounding the capital was a labyrinth of walls and moats, known collectively as the Benin earthworks. These fortifications stretched over 16,000 kilometers, making them one of the largest human-made structures in history, dwarfing even the Great Wall of China in their total length. Built over centuries, the earthworks served not only as a barrier against invaders but also as a testament to the organizational and engineering prowess of the Benin people. The walls encircled not just the royal palace but also the surrounding villages, weaving together a network of protection and unity that symbolized the kingdom's strength. Inside the city, life thrived in orderly precision. Broad streets, meticulously planned, led to the heart of Benin, the royal palace. The palace itself was a sprawling complex adorned with intricate carvings and sculptures. Its walls told stories of triumphs and traditions, capturing the essence of a kingdom that held its history close. But it was in the workshops of Benin that the kingdom's true genius shone. The artisans of Benin were master metallurgists, creating bronze sculptures and plaques that remain unparalleled in their detail and craftsmanship. These works depicted scenes of courtly life, warriors in regal attire, and the Oba, king, himself, resplendent in his ceremonial regalia. The bronzes were not merely decorative, they served as historical records, preserving the stories of the kingdom for future generations. The casting process, known as the lost wax technique, was so advanced that it continues to astonish modern metallurgists. Benin's artistry was not confined to bronze alone. Its craftsmen worked with ivory, wood, and coral, producing ornaments, masks, and ceremonial objects of exquisite beauty. Coral beads, a symbol of prestige and power, adorned the Oba and his court, their deep red hues contrasting with the lush green of the surrounding forests. The kingdom's connection to the wider world began in the late 15th century when Portuguese explorers arrived on its shores. The interaction between Benin and Portugal was one of mutual curiosity and benefit. The Portuguese brought firearms and metal goods, while the Benin traders offered pepper, ivory, and enslaved people. This exchange not only introduced new technologies to Benin but also influenced its art. Portuguese figures and motifs began to appear in Benin's bronzes, a testament to the kingdom's ability to adapt and incorporate foreign elements into its cultural fabric. Yet, the Kingdom of Benin remained fiercely independent, its rulers maintaining control over their lands and people. The Oba was seen as both a political leader and a divine figure, mediating between the gods and his subjects. Festivals honoring the spirits of ancestors and gods filled the city with music, dance, and ritual, reinforcing the spiritual bonds that held the kingdom together. The kingdom's decline came centuries later, in 1897, when a British punitive expedition laid waste to Benin City. The royal palace was burned, and thousands of artifacts were looted, many of which now reside in museums across Europe. These bronzes, once symbols of the kingdom's glory, became trophies of colonial conquest, their beauty admired but their context often ignored. Despite this tragedy, the legacy of Benin endures. The earthworks, though eroded, still trace the contours of a civilization that achieved greatness in the heart of the rainforest. The bronzes, scattered across the globe, continue to captivate viewers with their artistry and storytelling. And the spirit of Benin lives on in the descendants of those who built its walls, cast its sculptures, and wove its history into the fabric of time. Chapter 5: Zulus, the last bastion of resistance. In the sweeping plains and rolling hills of southern Africa, a kingdom unlike any other rose to prominence, a land of proud warriors, innovative leadership, and unyielding spirit. This was the Zulu kingdom, a bastion of strength and culture that would leave an indelible mark on African history. At its heart stood Shaka Zulu, a figure as legendary as the land he ruled. With a mind as sharp as the weapons he crafted, Shaka transformed the Zulu from a modest tribal confederation into a formidable state that would challenge even the mightiest empires. Shaka was not born into power, but he seized it with vision and determination. A military genius, he revolutionized the art of war in ways that astonished both allies and enemies. Gone were the days of throwing spears from a distance under Shaka's command. Warriors carried the Ikalwa, a short, deadly spear designed for close combat. The Ikalwa's blade gleamed with lethal precision, its name echoing the sound it made when pulled from an enemy's body. Armed with this weapon, the Zulu army became an unstoppable force, disciplined and united under Shaka's strict leadership. Perhaps Shaka's most famous innovation was the bullhorn formation, a strategy that would become legendary in military history. The army was divided into 3 parts: the chest, which launched a frontal assault; the horns, which encircled the enemy to cut off retreat; and the loins, a reserve force ready to reinforce the attack. This tactic proved devastating, allowing the Zulu to outmaneuver and overwhelm their foes with terrifying efficiency. The kingdom's power reached its zenith during Shaka's reign, its influence stretching across southern Africa. But the Zulus were not merely warriors, they were a people of vibrant culture and tradition. The rhythms of drums echoed through their villages, calling warriors to dance and celebrations to life. Songs told stories of heroism and love, while intricate beadwork and vibrant garments reflected the beauty of their world. The Zulu kingdom's strength, however, would be tested in a confrontation with the British Empire, a clash of vastly different worlds. By the late 19th century, colonial expansion had reached southern Africa, bringing with it the relentless ambition of British imperialism. The Zulu resisted fiercely, refusing to surrender their sovereignty without a fight. The pinnacle of this resistance came in 1879, at the Battle of Asandlawana. On that fateful day, the Zulu army, armed with traditional weapons and unmatched courage, faced a modern British force equipped with rifles and cannons. Against all odds, the Zulu achieved a stunning victory, annihilating a large British detachment and proving that their spirit could not be easily subdued. The battlefield was littered with the remnants of British weaponry and the echoes of a fierce, triumphant Zulu war cry. But the triumph was fleeting. The British, humiliated and determined, returned with overwhelming numbers and advanced weaponry. The Zulu fought valiantly, but the weight of modern warfare bore down upon them. The final blow came at the Battle of Ulundi, where the kingdom's capital was burned, and the Zulu kingdom fell to British rule. Even in defeat, the Zulu spirit endured. Their resistance became a symbol of African strength and resilience, a testament to a people who dared to defy the odds. Shaka's legacy, too, lived on, not only in the annals of history but in the identity of his people, who continue to honor his memory through tradition and pride. Today, the story of the Zulu kingdom is one of courage and innovation, of cultural richness and unyielding resolve. It reminds us that even in the face of overwhelming power, the human spirit can rise like the sun over the hills of KwaZulu-Natal, refusing to be extinguished. The stories of ancient African civilizations are not just tales of greatness and decline but also reminders of how rich and diverse this continent is. Myths that preserve the spirit of the times and artifacts that speak the language of the past make Africa a place where the past and present intertwine in a single tapestry. By the way, did you know that Africa is not just the cradle of humanity but also an inexhaustible source of inspiration for future generations? After all, its story is far from fully told. And that's it, thanks for watching. If you enjoy exploring historical worlds, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on more exciting stories.